Welcome to another edition of Irish Illustrated Insider. It is Wednesday, November 26th, day before Thanksgiving. I'm Tim O'Malley, joined by Tim Priester of Irish Illustrated, Pete Sampson of The Athletic. We're rolling three deep, like the Vikings of the mid-90s wide receiver core, guys. Always get some Jake Reed references in anytime you can on a podcast. Good news for Notre Dame basketball. We'll start with and cover them for 30 seconds. They are 1-1 on the meaningful games of the season, winning in Vegas yesterday against Rutgers. Houston, number one defense in the country coming up. Should be a hoot to watch that one
What
today.
what could go wrong?
I don't know. If Notre Dame fares well in that one, that would be a good job. But that's kind of you would expected 1-2 leaving Vegas when if you'd have known Kansas, Houston, and Rutgers. So probably did their best there. More important news, I think, for Notre Dame fans at this juncture of November is new playoff rankings are out. No surprise that Notre Dame stayed at number 9. I wanted to get your guys' opinion on. I guess Miami has moved 6 spots up to number 12 at this point since the original rankings came out. And we'll get into some chaos that is needed. But just your initial response to the rankings, I guess there weren't as many surprises this time around. Huh?
Yeah, I mean, I don't think anything jumped out, although I didn't look at it real closely. I looked where to see where Notre Dame was and the particulars around them. Yeah, Miami moved up. You just wonder, like, man, I do. I have committee fatigue from everybody being upset about everybody every week, no matter what. Man, I mean, it's all really exciting, and I think it's really great for the sport. But of course, there's always a flip side to it, and that is just the constant anger. And again, I have to say, Tim, Danny Cannell, please save us all and volunteer. Please volunteer to be on the committee every year because he has every answer every week. He's so tremendous at it. I can't believe that they haven't reached out to him and say, Danny, we've got to have you on the committee to save us from embarrassing ourselves every week.
Matt Hayes caught the stray last week or 2 days ago. Last week it was 2 days ago. This was Danny Cannell. Here's the good news about this. I go on the Cannell show quite a bit, and I enjoy it and I enjoy our banter. But I do a good job of not watching what people talk about the college football playoff rankings because if I did, I would be very upset too. It is, Tim, this is the new stay off the message board during the games. Stay off Twitter during college football playoff polls.
I probably have like about a dozen of those, and you have to keep reminding me because sometimes I just get caught up in it in the press box and I just
not since Ricky Collins has Priester been this dismissive of somebody on our podcast.
Look, I know
he was not wrong about Ricky Collins.
No, he was right on that.
No, I do know that Danny Cannell seriously. I do know that he is a very bright guy. There's no doubt about that. But this is just. Do we not realize that there are 12 spots and there are too many two-loss teams
it's just
for
true.
us to be in accord with one another? It's impossible. And I guess that's what's great about it. We have another thing to bitch and moan about with college football, and we needed another one, and we've got one because every single week there's discord about somebody being 8th instead of 9th and 12th instead of 13th, and wow, boy, I have committee, I have CFP fatigue, no doubt.
I thought it was significant yesterday when the committee said that Miami and Notre Dame are in the same pod, cohort, pool, whatever you want to call it. And Heather Dinich, who knows this better than anybody, was like, right. The committee still didn't care about head-to-head. Or, I mean, let me rephrase. They cared about head-to-head, but instead of having one game be the tipping point, they were like, we're going to look at all 22 games that those teams have played combined, and we still like Notre Dame, regardless of what happened on opening weekend. So I think that the Miami discussion has ended. It's over. I know Booger McFarland's like, I watched the game. Like, great. Did you watch the other 10 games that those teams played? So I think that actually was something significant short of the committee chair doing the 6-7 motion during the broadcast on live television.
What if Miami goes to Pittsburgh and hammers them worse than Notre Dame did, which I certainly don't expect Pittsburgh to win the game.
I think it'd have to be 70-7.
Maybe.
I like that they brought up 70-7 on the show too. He's like, well, 70-7 is different than a walk-off field goal.
Yeah.
Because there's a lot of talk about margin of victories and margin of. I thought it was a good question to ask. There were too many. First of all, sorry for the digression. There were too many hypotheticals. Well, what happens this week if that happens? And they're just the answer every time is we don't predict the future. We're just talking about what has already happened.
Right.
But when you say it doesn't matter how much you win by, I thought the inverse was a good question, actually. Well, if it doesn't matter how much you win by, why does it matter that you lost by 3? Well, then they have to give the real answer is it does matter how much you win by. When you look great, we notice, and when you look great in the loss, we notice as well. I think.
Yeah, but theoretically, winning by 63 is no different than winning by 24.
Yes,
That's what we were told, right?
Yeah, except, and I don't just mean the eye test because we don't want to always have to say the eye test, but when you win by 63, all of your metrics that the committee is using go up.
Okay.
Right. Yeah, your explosive plays, all of that stuff is
Yeah.
enhanced by winning by 63 points.
Yeah. I also thought the other funny part was when someone asked about Texas Tech having a chance to move up from 5 to 4, and he goes, they're very close to number 4. They're also very close to number 6. I'm not trying to be humorous, but that's funny. How are you? It's a Ty Willingham answer when he told Jason Kelly, yes. And by yes, I mean no.
no.
Yeah. When the committee chair said 6, 7.
Yeah.
I don't know that he should have said that.
No.
Did he have?
I was watching that with Tate, and he died of embarrassment for that person. On
Exactly. Yeah.
I will tell you, I was able to retire from the poll very quickly because for the first time in my life, I watched 3-hour season finale of Dancing with the Stars with my daughter, and I'm tired because of that. So I wish I hadn't done that. But not as much. There's arguing about that show too, Tim Priester, and I think I used the analogy to Charlotte this morning. I go, she's like, Twitter. She said not Twitter. What's she on? She said TikTok is raging because of whoever lost. And I said, that's what they want. And that's what this committee loves, is that people tune in and get mad. And that's exactly what Dancing with the Stars wanted. Brought it back full circle to football.
Well, if you're tired this morning, wait till post-game this weekend.
Well,
when you're flying back and you're like in a daze.
O'Malley's Wednesday musings because I forgot going all the way through the entire thing. So, anything else you guys want to cover on committee? Because we will have a question or two, of course, from the I think last night. Kind of innocuous.
I'm kind of waiting for the questions attached to that. Yes.
Yeah. Best chaos options.
There's a bunch
to host. Would you say?
I went through this.
Good.
I think that if we're looking for chaos options to host and then get a really favorable matchup, you sort of need the 3-way parlay of Ole Miss to lose at Mississippi State, Oregon to lose at Washington, LSU to beat Oklahoma in Norman. To bet the money lines on all those, you can bet $10 to win $403. So it is a real long shot that would happen.
I like it though. I'm about to do that now.
And Texas Tech's at West Virginia. Is that not correct? That's
yeah. I mean, they will be going to the state of West Virginia, but Texas Tech at West Virginia is like Notre Dame at Stanford.
That's fair. That's fair.
Yeah, I didn't even include that in the.
No, we were chaos. That would be one. That would be
right.
That'd be real chaos because God only knows how far Texas Tech would fall then.
Yeah, it would close up the.
Ways.
That would be an interesting one from a Big 12 championship game trapdoor situation for Notre Dame because it would close that.
Yes,
the Big 12 winner would be in, and the Big 12 loser would be out.
That would make that simple. That's a good point. That'd be kind of fun. I think West Virginia's got a better chance of beating Texas Tech than Stanford, but point taken.
I don't know.
Stanford's a 30-point underdog. I think West Virginia's a 12.5-point underdog, maybe.
Are you Texas Tech, West Virginia?
Yeah, I don't think it's that bad of a line.
Oh, I thought it was 24 points.
I could be what we're going to do is we're going to look it up while we're doing
we're going to verify. I know you guys on the Monday podcast talked about teams you wanted to see win and lose, and this is kind of a sidebar to that, but I actually really want to see Texas Tech in the playoff to see them go against, a Big 10 or an SEC school like that. That's a team that is really interesting to me.
I would agree. Personally, I really haven't had a chance to see an extensive amount of them. There's a lot of teams I haven't seen an extensive amount, but them in particular, they're kind of early in the season, they're just kind of like a novelty because the money that was spent, and David Bailey's there for crying out loud, and you didn't expect him to go there, and apparently he didn't expect to go there either until he saw the
There's
dollars.
David Bailey in question in segment 2, believe it or not.
I realize that.
I guess
no,
not.
I know.
Yeah. Pete, you're right. It's 22.5.
Yeah, that's not happening. They're going to murder them.
We'll put that on your parlay. You can win 5 extra.
Yeah. $412.
$412 parlay. We have one more related question from DH Spartan fan, who we happen to know. What are the chances Pitt knocks off Miami, and will it be snowing at Pittsburgh at game time? I looked, and it could be a wintry mix because it's calling for a wintry mix. If there's a wintry mix, Tim Priester, do you at all change your Pitt cannot beat them because Pat Narduzzi will find a way to lose that game when it matters?
Yeah, gosh, I mean, if the Hurricanes can't get up for this game, regardless of the weather, but I mean, sometimes that is the case with them. But I don't look. I don't. Notre Dame manhandled Pittsburgh physically. I still expect Miami to do that. Wintry conditions, shame on them if that impacts them in a significant way.
I think from watching the Notre Dame Pitt game, it makes me think Mason Heinschel is going to be decapitated by Miami if that defensive front comes, because he wants to move around. He's going to escape somebody's pass rush.
He's going to move around into
He's
another.
He's going to move inside that pocket
end.
and start running, and then someone else is coming.
Yeah.
Because Miami can get it.
I'm extremely curious about that game.
Yeah, it's 7.5. Not a bad. So they're only 7.5 underdogs.
Yeah.
The wintry mix could help. Rooting for wintry mix is fun because that will be my multiple clicker. Pete, we don't have we're not going to have multi-view for this weekend in Palo Alto, but clicking back and forth, Penn State's not involved anymore. They lost a couple games. Pittsburgh and Miami is the same time as Michigan, Ohio State, and
I think that hopefully our hotel lobby has adequate televisions
yes.
Loosen up your thumb.
Yeah, that's right.
Click.
Notre Dame favored by 32.5 against Stanford. Tim Priester. They have a saltier defense, obviously, than Syracuse and Navy. If it's an offensive category, the struggles are real and spectacular. Do you want to start with the offense or the defense?
Well, I'll start with defense because they are. I mean, they're legit defensively sometimes.
I was going to say, yeah.
I mean, like I say that because like I pour over these games over and over and over again, and it's the ACC, and you don't know what's real and what isn't with the ACC. But 3.6 yards per carry is 34th in the country. Now we get caught in this. They're only giving up 113 yards rushing a game. It's because their pass defense is really, really vulnerable. So a lot of times they're just opponents are winging it because why bother with the run game if you know you can be successful through the air? But they are 25th in the country in what they give up on the ground per game. They're also 135th in yards passing allowed, and they're just. And you know what? I said this on Monday, and I thought, Jesus, that probably sounded pretty stupid. I mean, I like their safeties. I mean, their safeties are pretty good. Lieber is got hurt in the Cal game, and so that impacts them because he's a really good football player. But Marcus Freeman talked the other day about their numbers are improved. Not really, not really.
No, they're not.
They are.
I mean, did they also say they didn't have a mass exodus of players? And I was like, I don't think that's right.
Yeah, that wasn't right either. To your point, Tim, people just throw on them because they can. I want to give you it's the percentage of yardage gain, pass or run, okay? And tell me which team does not belong here in the bottom 10, all right? Vanderbilt, Texas Tech, SMU, Texas, Indiana, Miami, Georgia, Michigan, Stanford. Those are teams that give up that people pass against because they can't run. One of them is just because they feel like it.
Right. Yeah. Yeah, pretty much. And look, Stanford's ground game on offense has really dissipated in recent years. And I mean, that's shocking. I mean, it's astonishing.
Yeah, it's been bad for a minute now.
When Stanford was handling Notre Dame, I mean, it would stop the run and run all over people. And they
used the perfect word. It was handling Notre Dame back then of the run game and run defense.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's like if you just look at the S&P Plus that Bill Conley does at ESPN, Stanford's 107th. Their offense is 118th. Their defense is 80th. So yeah, they're better on defense than they are on offense, but they're not that great. They're terrible on offense and just like below average on defense. And like their overall ranking of 107th, if you just distill that down to Power Four teams only, they're right behind Virginia Tech and right ahead of Boston College.
Boston College is pretty salty against Notre Dame defensively too, I might point out.
Yeah, but
I did find. Go ahead. Go ahead. Tim.
they have Stanford's got a home field advantage. They're 4-1 at home this year.
They are 4-1 at home. That's right.
I actually went back and looked at attendance when they were handling Notre Dame and they were getting 48,000 fans to come to that game. Now it's 30 or lower, and how many of those are Notre Dame fans? They actually had 50,000 at the Cal game last week, but that's because it's the big game and so they're going to show for that, but I don't believe they're going to show for this. But they are actually 4-1 at home this year, as opposed to 6-21 in the last however many seasons.
Last time Notre Dame out there, they finished 0-7 at home.
Yeah.
Wow. Yeah. That's 0-7 at home for Stanford. My goodness. I did find one stat though, kind of pretty sure to back up your defensive thing, because I wanted to use the committee stats because that's what the committee looks at. So most of the committee's stats offensively are the worst things you've ever seen in your life, like drive success 112th, available yards 116th, possession efficiency 121st. On defense, creating broken drives, so that's a 3 and out or no yardage gained, they're 23rd nationally. Mm-hmm. That is the outlier. All the other ones are like 85, 58, 68, But I point that out because that if you could create a couple of busted drives against Notre Dame, it's closer in the second quarter than anything Syracuse could have put out there. And maybe it's 21-7 at the end of the half if you create 2 broken drives completely by Notre Dame.
Here's one to consider. Their defense is number 13 in red zone touchdown percentage.
Well, Notre Dame.
If it starts, it's got to be goal to go. I get that, but there is some crossover and some correlation there.
Yes. Yeah, it's we'll obviously finish with our Stanford predictions in the second part, but pre-stories, I did want to bring this up because we jokingly talk about, there is no Markinson, there is no tampering, there's no transfer portal. Your guy David Bailey, for 3 years that it was being mentioned on this podcast for coming to Notre Dame as a transfer portal possibility, and there was even some craziness like of questions coming in like, do they really need David Bailey? And we're like, yeah, they really do need David Bailey. He is on mock drafts now in the top 5 of the
I know.
That's the number one guy. He's replaced.
When I saw him as a freshman, and it's like, yo, that's and he kept getting better and better, and now he's surrounded by a whole bunch of good players, and he's sensational. Well, let's put it this way: I'm glad he plays for Texas Tech now and not Stanford.
He leads the nation in pressures. Leads the nation in pressures with 71, and he's on track to best these seasons by other renowned defenders.
Oh, wow.
Aiden Hutchinson, Chase Young, Will Anderson, both times, Abdul Carter, and the power forward defender who is second in pressures is Ruben Bain, who is 15 behind him.
Jesus, that's a Mount Rushmore of pressure guys.
I remember I was looking up Julian Aquara against those guys, Pete. He had 61, which Notre Dame has not come close to that since individually. And I was like, Chase Young had 75 or something along those lines. And that's not playing, 15 games. That was
David Bailey's going to blow past that.
Yeah, oh my gosh, that's crazy. All right, we'll have more with Stanford later on. Irish fans, you remember Rocket Ismail, his speed, his signature, his impact on Notre Dame football. Now you can wear his legacy. Signature Pro Apparel's Rocket Ismail collection is officially open for pre-order, featuring premium polos and rugby shirts, each embroidered with Rocket's authentic signature and officially licensed by Notre Dame. Pre-orders will be perfectly timed for holiday gifting. Visit signaturepro.com and use code IRISH20 to save 20% before pre-orders close soon. That's signaturepro.com, legacy in every thread. We'll be back with segment 2, Burning Up the Boards. With football season coming to a close, I've been looking to find the best deal on Notre Dame tickets, both for family and friends, but also as a memorable gift idea. That's why I want to offer the sponsor of today's Burning Up the Boards, SeatGeek, a huge shout out. With over 35 million downloads, SeatGeek is the #1 rated ticketing app. There are more than 70,000 events listed on SeatGeek, including concerts, sports, festivals, and more. Whether you're an Irish fan looking for a ticket to the AC/DC concert in September, or any of college football's playoff matchups down the road, perhaps a home playoff matchup for the Fighting Irish, SeatGeek has your back. Each ticket is rated on a scale of 1 to 10, so you know you're getting a good deal. Look for the green dots. Green means good, red means bad. Plus, every ticket is backed by their buyer guarantee. And of course, I have a code for you guys. You can use Irish10, that's all capital letters and the number 10, for 10% off your next set of tickets at SeatGeek. 10% off any tickets, promo code Irish10. Make sure you click the link in the description to download the app and have the code automatically added to your account so you can use it later. Thank you, SeatGeek. Question number 1 comes from Philip Fell. I had a feeling this would be on Irish fans' minds. Head-to-head as a final arbiter is an issue for me because as an ND fan, and he cites the Boston College example from 1993 and his pain thereafter, what are your thoughts on head-to-head, and has that ever really been used as a final arbiter? And I think by ever he means in the college football world. Obviously, it's head-to-head in many worlds.
Mr. Pete.
I get it why head-to-head would be significant. Also, there are each Miami and Notre Dame have also played 20 games total in addition to head-to-head. I think college football is such a weird sport where like the sample size of data to compare teams is the smallest of anything in athletics. And so then to, by choice, reduce it even further to one game doesn't make a lot of sense to me. And it's when you talk to people who do like formulas for a living, like, you know, FEI or S&P Plus, or even just like, you know, the old BCS data that's out there. I haven't seen Miami ahead of Notre Dame in anything.
There's not.
Like not one. And so I feel like this is a political campaign where one candidate is 10 points ahead of the other with 1 week until election day. And the candidate that's losing is saying, we won the debate 3 months ago. And nobody cares. It's just not, it just doesn't hold up because of everything else that's happened afterwards.
Well, when I hear, like, Pete may even have said it, I'm not exactly sure in what context, but like I hear a lot of the committee is ignoring head-to-head. They're not ignoring it. They're considering it, but there are other things that outweigh it.
Yeah.
So, I mean, I bristle when I hear that because, and you know, again, I bristle a lot of things, obviously.
Punters are number one, but not anymore. There's no reason to bristle with punting anymore. Holy cow! Go ahead, Tim. Sorry.
There's Danny Cannell. There's I seriously think he should be on the committee. I mean it.
I know.
But so anyway, it's not ignored. It's just there are other things that are putting more weight on that they didn't. When the situation arose in 1993 with Notre Dame, Boston College, and Florida State. So and again, I will defend Miami people for if this was Notre Dame fans would be absolutely out of their minds irate about it. And
doesn't mean they'd be right though.
I understand, but like when I see this is they shouldn't have lost to unranked teams. Louisville is a perennial winner these days. SMU went to the playoffs last year. I just don't. I like losses to Louisville and SMU. Like there's some shame in that. I just don't see it that way, right?
It's hard to have context of how you lost because, like, I've said this for 25 years, and the late wonderful loose emoji used to kind of go. He has the opposite opinion. He has the opinion of. It has to be your final record. How, like, SMU ends up ranked 23rd, so they're a ranked team. My point was, and I'm just using SMU randomly, I'm going to use Louisville here. Louisville was a good team at the time Miami played them. Like, Louisville was a very good team at that point. They've gotten worse. I know. You can't. So I'm giving Miami credit here, but you can't, as a committee, know every single team if they were pretty good at the time the team played them. That is a very hard data point. Like, Texas A&M, no matter what, let's say Texas A&M loses to Texas, loses to Georgia, and loses its next game. They were really good the night they played Notre Dame. Like, that was a good team. Like, I'm not going to think they were worse because Texas beats them. I think they were just. I watched that game, and you think to yourself right after that. Now you think differently. You think Notre Dame can play Texas A&M. If you said after the Arkansas game, would you like to rematch Texas A&M? No, that's fine. I'll pass on that one because they were just so good that night.
So what do they use? Do they use the ranking when the game was played, or at the end
No,
of
they
the
used the
season?
ranking at the time. So right now, SMU is not a bad loss because they're 23rd. When they were 25th when they were 27th, is it a bad loss?
Well,
Like
see,
if
that's
Navy upsets
crazy.
Memphis and is 25, Notre Dame's going to get a bump.
Right.
I mean, Navy's
Right.
pretty good anyway, right? They're not great no
Yeah.
matter what. They're probably not a top 25 team. They're probably a top 35 team.
I mean, they obliterated USF, which could
Which
count as a quality win for Miami, but it
for
doesn't
Miami.
because
Yeah.
USF lost to Navy.
And USF was pretty good at that time. But I want to put one that, and we'll wrap this up real quickly on this first question. Okay. Imagine Notre Dame is 10-1 with a loss to A&M. They've already beaten, let's say Stanford was week 1. Notre Dame beat Stanford. Lost to A&M. They're playing Miami. In Miami this weekend. 9-2 Miami. 10-1 A&M. Miami wins by 3. They have the same record. Head to head. Everything else that has ever happened here is the exact same. I guarantee you Miami gets in over Notre Dame because it happened on November 28th, not August 31st.
Yeah.
And I would not have a problem with it.
Here.
Right. And that's part of the equation.
Yes.
They weigh more heavily later in the season.
They have
They
to.
don't. They're not ignoring anything.
Right.
It's just part of the data.
They
But
would
there's
get in
other data
without
that
anybody voting for Notre Dame in that room if that happened that way. If it happened on November 28th.
Yeah,
So
no,
I
no
think that, I mean, you got to realize that if you're talking an August 31st game, the playoffs are coming up. They're trying to get the best teams in. I think Miami's one of the 11 best teams,
I do too.
but I think Notre Dame's better than them.
Yeah. Yeah, and I apologize for repeating this, but if Notre Dame played the Syracuse of last year, this year, and if Notre Dame played, this year's Virginia this year as opposed to last year, we'd be saying, "Damn, Syracuse, Virginia,
Right.
USC, Texas A&M, Miami."
Hard schedule. Yeah.
It's like, maybe it's not intended this way, but a lot of times it's like, well, look who they scheduled. No, it doesn't. They didn't. Notre Dame didn't go out and try to schedule a poor Syracuse team.
Oh, no, to your point, they scheduled a playoff team from last year, Boise State. You said SMU was a playoff team last year.
Exactly.
Boise State
Yeah.
was a playoff
Exactly.
team last year.
Exactly. But throw in the good Syracuse and the good Virginia,
Right.
and it'd be like, oh my God, and that would just be the slightest, most minor tweak from this year and last year.
I think it's like I like the Oregon Oklahoma State example of that. When Oregon scheduled a home and home with Oklahoma State,
Yeah. Yeah. That's tough.
that's not what they thought they were going to be playing.
Right.
No,
That's
no.
exactly it.
We'll do this one quickly because I actually think we need Bryce on this because the three of us might agree. Kay Beasley, let's be honest. Would Notre Dame be ranked the highest 2-loss team and 9th overall if we had not gone to last year's national championship? Let's say they lost to Indiana instead. I think Pete and I have talked about this a lot, and we feel that the committee is human. And
Yeah, I think that they get a benefit from that. I don't know how much. I don't know if it's a durability in their ranking benefit, if they're actually higher than they should be. But I think the bigger one is like Notre Dame is playing extremely well right now. I think if Notre Dame had 3 Boston College performances, playing for the national title last year would not save
matter
them.
anymore. Okay. Yep.
Yeah. I agree, Pete, that, I think the way Notre Dame is playing now supersedes what happened in postseason last year. But that's that. I mean, there's no doubt, Tim. We've addressed this on previous podcasts.
Yeah.
There's no doubt that because people hadn't seen Notre Dame rise to the occasion against the Georgias and Penn States when it really mattered, and they did. Especially, I mean, they beat Georgia. They outplayed, they out physical, and they outcoached Georgia last year.
All 3 phases too.
Yeah.
And I was talking to Tyler James about this just actually on Monday. If you replace Georgia, number 4 SEC champ, with number 4 SEC champ Ole Miss, but I'm just giving you the name Ole Miss,
Right.
it does not get the same credit for winning that Sugar Bowl game as they do Georgia.
Right.
Equity works both ways. And my real point, I think, Tim, when we addressed this previously, was 0-2 Notre Dame, still ranked at 23, was a big deal.
Yeah.
Then when they were 2-2, all of a sudden, or 3-2, all of a sudden they're 16. Then all of a sudden they're at 12, and then the committee's coming out. You're like, they're going to be 9 or 10, and I think that is where last year's run helped Notre Dame the most. It positioned them to not be off the radar. Because if Bob Davies' team went 0-2 with 2 tough losses to Miami and A&M, they'd have been not thought
It
again.
would have taken them to November to get
eight
right.
and 2. Yeah, they're sneaking in there, looking to get in a bowl. Our next question, a little more technical. Bobby 1556. How would you grade Gerby Lambert's play in 2025? I know he was highly regarded. Has he shown enough to be the next great ND offensive lineman? I'm not going to list these 2 names out of fairness to Gerby Lambert. Or do you guys see him being a good college player with some type of NFL future? Never used names like Q and Man Mountain Part 2 there with anybody else.
Priester, you take this one.
I mean, I think he's been really good this year. I wouldn't say great yet. Does he have a chance to be great? Yeah, I think so, because he has all the physical tools. He's tough. He has all the physical tools that you want, and I don't care if it's tackle or guard. Now, I mean, I think he's
a good guard.
I think he's a really good guard, and you've got some other guys that are Will Black, although Black's still playing guard himself. You never know with Joe Rudolph. He's a little bit unconventional compared to a lot of other offensive line coaches, but I don't think there's been anything to me that's been disappointing about Gerby Lambert. When Gerby Lambert pulls right to left, you better get the hell out of the way. I mean, that's a scary sight. He's athletic, he's large, he's flexible. I think he's got a chance to be a really, really good player. Chance to be a great player.
I think he's been good for a first-year starter.
That's fair.
I think if he had this year, next year, you would be disappointed.
Yeah, I think he's been good for a first-year starter, and I think he'll be a 4-year starter at Notre Dame.
I like that. I agree with you on that. He would not be an early departure guy, although he could be a 3-year starter simply because his third year could be a really good year.
It's hard to project what he's going to look like after 2027, though. I mean,
he could definitely go pro after his senior year too. But I think Pete, that's a good point. Like Quentin Nelson and Joe Alt were not.
You already knew.
You already knew.
Yeah.
Like, those were the names that were on the list right there.
Yeah.
Like,
right.
No, I think you said it best, Pete. I mean, for a first-year guy, and I'm not looking at him any other way, because that's what he is. He's a first-year player, redshirt freshman. But I don't see anything there that's like a red flag. Like, oh, he may not be. I like him a lot. I think he's got a great future.
And I like him at guard more than I thought I possibly.
I know, isn't that wild?
Yeah.
It's like. He fits there in ways that I didn't think that we would think.
Yeah, no, that's totally fair, and I think he'll be there next year.
Yeah,
and then maybe his senior year he will not be. He might be a tackle in his senior year.
All right, we have a question from Denver Maximus. Does winning the Heisman mean as much anymore? For years, Notre Dame used their 11 Heisman Trophy winners. How many? Oh, so I'm reading what's
11 national, I think 11 national championships.
Oh, okay, all right. Winners and major selling point. But with so much more at stake, NIL, playoffs, transfer portal, etc., does winning it mean as much as it used to?
I think it doesn't mean as much as it used to, because there's just other things. Like there's just more stuff. So there's
NIL.
a maximum amount of meaning we can have, and that pie is getting divided up with more pieces. However, winning the Heisman Trophy is a lifetime achievement. Like, you are a Heisman Trophy winner forever. And I think that it still means a ton. And I think for Jeremiah Love to win it, that is, I mean, I think we've all sort of got to he's the best running back we've ever seen at Notre Dame. That would just sort of salt it away. And I think just for a program like Notre Dame, where you're measuring national titles and Heisman Trophy winners, and that was a big thing for a while, that they had the most of both. They don't anymore. To strike one in, to bring it back to the historical part of Notre Dame in 2025, I think would be a really big deal.
I have a couple thoughts on this. Number one is, I've never been prouder than last year in the Coliseum when Tim Priester leaned over and goes, "You're right. He is the best running back in Notre Dame history," because I said it a little prematurely. I just
you said it. I mean, that was
I said
prophetic.
it. I said it a month prior. He's the best running back.
At least a month prior. That was prophetic. I was talking about that recently. I'm like, I had no choice but to agree with T.O., but T.O. was about 6 weeks ahead of me.
Yeah. Was that when he jumped over and then bundled the guy? I
Yeah.
think that was that highlight. You're like, okay, well, maybe he is. Number two is the Heisman is more important than ever, guys, because I have a Heisman vote this year, so it is the most important thing that there is in the world. No, I'm just kidding.
All
But
right.
he's the best player in the country. And Pete, that's a great point about 87 and 88, about the national championship in Heisman. 87 Heisman, 88 national championship. Imagine what Notre Dame does if they do that in the next 2 years or in 1 year here, of course. But I mean, Notre Dame's gonna have a really good team next year, so I point it. In the next 2 years, that could be another back-to-back situation. That's a long, long time. I mean, even if
Well,
it was Rocket, it would have been 90. It's not like they got robbed once. They would still have been 35 years ago.
I mean, I think the question stands. It's not as important exactly what Pete said that there's other stuff, and the biggest other stuff is the guys are making $1 million a year playing football, which I mean, everybody wants to win the Heisman Trophy, and it is a lifetime achievement. There's no doubt about that. Unlike any other single year award,
Yeah, NFL MVP is nothing compared to that.
no, yeah, you don't
Baseball
remember
has two.
you don't remember NFL
You know what? The only other
MVPs.
one is close is NBA MVP is remembered, but nothing like the Heisman. But it
Yeah.
is remembered. Like Michael Jordan won six, Magic Johnson won five. Like you don't know that about any other sport. Like how
Yeah.
many did Brett Favre win or Joe Montana? You don't.
I just
Right.
want to see Jeremiah Love in the Nissan Heisman house,
Yeah, that would be
hanging out with Barry Sanders.
Well,
He'd be eloquent. He
Yeah.
would be eloquent.
Pete, I want to give you credit on this one because there's just more stuff. You know what? There really is more stuff of. The season would end. Some people cared about the SEC championship game. They didn't care about the other ones. The biggest deal in the world was coming up, the Heisman. For a whole month, the Heisman guy was college football. He would then get fat and not play well in the championship or his
Yeah.
bowl game.
Yeah.
That's your Barry Sanders. Now, the Heisman is sandwiched in between the biggest day of the year, the college football playoff announcement, and the biggest day of the year 2 weeks later when they play the playoff game. So it's like, you don't even have that. And if you win it, you're Jeremiah Love, it's like, all right, we got to get home from New York. Let's go.
Yep.
Yeah, no doubt. I do think that Travis Hunter winning it last year opens the door more for a Jeremiah Love who doesn't have to have. I mean, obviously, stats don't matter like they did because Ashton Genty,
Right.
his college total, I think, is still going up somehow. And I was surprised he didn't win it. But I guess Boise State, et cetera. But I think the open-mindedness of voters last year, I mean, hell, you don't have to be that open-minded to choose Jeremiah Love. He's the most exciting player in college football, and that's kind of what they voted for last year.
And I mean, Mendoza and Sayin are not Carson Palmer at the end of the year. We're like, good
Right.
God Almighty, look at this guy. Like you couldn't not vote.
Well, a year ago, Mendoza, nobody knows who Mendoza is, and everybody, more people knew about Sayin just because of his ranking coming out of high school. But yeah.
Good question here from Blue Chip Man. If you had to rank the top 5 teams based on how they are currently playing, who would pass your top 5 eye test? Just give me 5 teams. You don't need to rank them in order. Just who are the 5 best teams in college football right now?
I mean, I think Ohio State and Indiana's been sensational. I had made a comment about A&M's defense improving. I don't know how much that's really actually happened. I think Georgia's playing really, really well now. I have fun watching Mississippi. I think there might be some shortcomings in their game that you wouldn't necessarily put in the top 5. Oregon wouldn't be there. Again, Texas Tech. I think we need to see Texas Tech against some real national competition before we know what they are.
I can give you 1, and then I can give you about 9.
That's yeah.
I got Ohio State to me is far and away the best team in the country. And then Notre Dame's in that next group, but they're like toward the top of that next group.
Yeah. I mean, I didn't say Notre Dame, but Notre Dame's a candidate too.
Yeah, I have Notre Dame in the top 6 for sure, and maybe top 5. Texas Tech. If you go by eye test, when you watch Texas Tech, I know they're not playing great teams. Texas Tech's the top 5 team by who they're playing. They can't control who they're playing.
They're doing what Notre Dame's doing.
Yeah, Texas Tech by eye test doesn't mean I'm not saying they would beat these teams. I'm saying by the eye test, they look really good. That's why, Tim, your point is great. I want to see Texas Tech. Pete, you
Yeah.
want to see Texas Tech play in a playoff game? That is a team. I want to see Ole Miss play Texas Tech or something like that. I want to see
Yeah.
Texas Tech run into Ohio State and see how close, how if that game is kept all of a sudden it's lower scoring than you ever could have thought it would be. Like straight up eye test, they look great. I just don't know how great their opponents are.
Yeah,
But
I wouldn't say Oregon. I wouldn't say Oklahoma. I wouldn't say Alabama.
I would
I wouldn't
not
say
say those
BYU.
teams either. Oklahoma's defense is getting saltier. I don't think Mateer's issue is only his thumb, though. I don't think he's that great.
I think that sentiment is being expressed and heard throughout the country a lot
Yeah.
more now.
Yeah, Oregon. I mean, Oregon really. I shouldn't say should.
I like Oregon. I don't know. I mean, I haven't watched
I
a
like
ton of
them,
them,
but
but they
Iowa
would be
had
in my
them.
group of teams after Ohio State.
Iowa
Yeah,
had
but
them.
Indiana went there and beat them.
Yeah,
Yeah, I like Indiana too.
yeah. Maybe I shouldn't take too much away from Oregon because of Iowa, because it can be a tough game. That situation can be when you say Louisville was good that night, they played Miami. Iowa
Right.
played well.
Iowa
Yeah.
can muck it up, no
Yeah.
doubt about it.
Yeah, there's more than 5 though. That's why it's going to be a fun playoff. All right, this is a good one. There's one serious and one not so serious. From Memphis Phil, what happens first? Eli Reardon scores his touchdown, or Aeneas Williams scores another touchdown? And then on behalf of the Aeneas Williams interview, Otzerpol, O'Malley had mentioned in the last pod the fact that Williams was actually slotted to be interviewed was a sign he had not definitively decided to enter the transfer portal, and I stand by that because there's no way they would have put him out there. I'm curious if you all feel that his answers during the interview provided any more clarity or just got the waters murkier.
Well, first of all, Eli Reardon has scored. Oh, okay. Aeneas Williams scored this year. Okay, yeah. I was going to say Reardon
Aeneas
scored.
Williams scores every time he gets on the field.
What? Yeah, that's true. I still think it's Eli Reardon.
So you think Reardon will score at Stanford, but not Aeneas? I'm going to go just for the fun of it because I can no longer bet on Reardon. I made that promise. Neither can John Bryce now. He has failed also, made that promise. Aeneas Williams scores at Stanford, and Eli Reardon does not.
I'm with you on that. O'Malley, you're a resident Aeneas Williams expert, so what's the answer to the second part of that question?
It is murky for me. It's obviously he plans on thinking about being here now, which I don't think was the case in week 5. Week 5, end of first quarter. They threw him out there on a kickoff return.
That was a hell of a muddy statement there. Obviously, now he plans on maybe being here next year. He'll consider it.
Yeah, but he was not. I don't think he was considering so much when he was on one kickoff return instead of playing as that was going to as he was planning on week 5. He does notice I asked him the 3 most important questions that I could get an answer on. I wasn't going to say did you almost transfer because no one answers that question. Do you see an opening in this running back room? Jeremiah Love, Jadarian Price, Jabron Payne, all going. I'm just being polite with the Payne. He's like, oh yeah. So it's not like it didn't occur to him that that's a chance for me to be here. I find it weird that I forget who asked the question. It wasn't me for the what are your conversations like with Coach Sider? He said I really don't talk to Coach Sider about this. I was like, that's odd to me. We could have all taken it wrong listening to it and reading it, where he's just like, I don't want to bother Coach Sider, but like that's who you bother, right?
Yeah, and people, it raised eyebrows just like you thought it would, and it's understandable. Maybe there's a clarification there that just wasn't provided, but well, the key to the question, it has not definitively decided to enter the portal. Yeah. And he definitely has not done that.
Right.
I think Notre Dame
that was my point last time, Tim, Monday. I said he will not be out there.
Right. But I still don't think we can definitively say that he's not going to enter the transfer.
No. He has not entered it yet in his mind. It's like
fair enough.
Yeah. I mean, for a few weeks there was some anger that Aeneas Williams was on game 5 playing on kickoff return only.
No doubt about that.
That's not cool.
No doubt about that.
Because you look what Jaden Greathouse is doing. I mean, it's happened before. You can preserve a guy a little bit,
and maybe
he didn't need him to do that one blocking.
Maybe Aeneas Williams looks at it like, hell, I'm not gonna, I'm gonna be here 3 more years anyway. I'm gonna be the standout running back for 2 years, and I'm gonna go play professional football.
I do think he kind of used some subtext when he's like, you can see the success. Success is in front of me. He didn't mean him. He meant, look at the success. This is in front of me. Jeremiah Love and Price. I'm going to have that success next year. That was kind of the biggest positive I took. He did say downstairs to the TV cameras, they said, "Will you be back next year?" He said, "Absolutely." But I mean, every player doesn't say. I'm not sure
Yeah.
about that right now, so that's not. I don't really.
Yeah,
Will Fuller said the same thing.
especially with the cameras rolling for that.
Yes, yeah.
We have a question from Corn Dog Connor.
I moved that for your reading, Pete or Tim, because I know you like that name. So
Um, assuming CJ Carr and Leonard Moore are the two highest paid players in 2026 at Notre Dame, who will be third? What position will be the highest paid transfer?
if they all come back, this is the best way to do it, right?
Yeah.
Adon Schuler would be third.
I would have gone Boubacar Traore.
Oh, that's a good one. That's a
And I wrote both of them down and wrote down KVA as well.
Yeah.
I mean, those are three strong.
Yeah.
And I don't know.
They just got a discount for a year.
Well,
yeah, that's a. I mean, this is the nature of college football. Like
it is.
That injury probably cost KVA a lot of money.
Yeah. I mean, there's no doubt. I had
the giant bump wouldn't be there this year.
Yeah, I hadn't thought of it in those terms. It would have been there. So maybe he's saying, or his representation is saying, I don't know. I don't know. But those would be the three. A healthy KVA and those two, I think, would be right at the top. It's difficult to, I mean,
not Jogasa anymore because he can't get a bump after.
No. Lambert.
I don't think there's an offensive lineman that would warrant it.
Yeah. That's fair.
Schuler would have an NFL decision to make, so he needs a little more.
Who else belongs with those three?
Tay Johnson gets the biggest raise.
Tay Johnson. Yeah.
He would be up there. I think Christian Gray is already high up.
He's already up there, and there's no reason to go.
So he would continue to be high up there.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think Tay Johnson, well, on the KVA thing, I think this happened to Boubacar Traore last year. Like if Boubacar Traore had a whole sophomore season healthy,
that's true.
I mean,
he would have.
Who knows what he would look like right now?
So who's the highest paid transfer, or what position?
That's a
D tackle.
Yeah. Can you get? So I have a great question on that, and in my mind, I just don't see top tier defensive tackles not going pro.
That is such a tough place.
I would say wide receiver is the number one because you're losing field for money to go.
Yeah, no, that's what I would say. But Pete's point stands. I mean, you would like to.
Yeah,
I think it's just a more expensive position for a less. You don't get the return on investment that you do at wide receiver.
Exactly.
But you got to overpay for D tackles. Yeah. Wide receivers, like there's a ton of them, so there's a huge supply. And they are probably going to be demanding to come to Notre Dame. Whereas I think D tackle, everybody in the world wants them.
So basically, Pete, I was trying to have fun playing fantasy football GM, and you ruined it by being illogical here. And you're absolutely
right. Sorry about that.
It was going to be. I was looking at Jeremiah Smith, like I'm going to go play where Jeremiah Love played, something like that. But no, you're right. That's because my point originally, that is now wrong, was that really good wide receivers don't have to go pro. Like Malachi Fields, that's a top tier level. His level of NFL status in my mind was so much higher than Bo Collins, who by the way made the NFL. But Malachi Fields seems so much higher to me than Bo Collins. Fields is like the get. I was like, wow, I've seen that guy play. That's the get.
Yeah, that's the way I felt. And I mean, don't you just like I'm pulling for Malachi Fields?
Yeah.
He was a great fit for Notre Dame, a really, really nice addition on the field, off the field, everywhere.
Also, if he listens to this podcast or anyone he knows does, I want everybody to know I do know Malachi Fields was on Virginia last year because when I asked Malachi about his second straight senior day at South Bend, he was at senior day last year for South Bend. And he looked at me like I had 5 heads. He's like, I had senior day at Virginia. I was like, oh, God. Yeah. I know he was there. I was the original. There is no Markinson tamper.
He was your David Bailey.
He was my David Bailey while he walks off the field, for crying out loud. So anyway, if you're listening to this, I know you played at Virginia last year. From Terry Benedict, I have a team glory conundrum. It's 31-3 at the end of the third. Jeremiah Love has 100 yards and 2 touchdowns. By the way, he needs 132 to break the Notre Dame single season record. Do you play him in the fourth quarter at 12:30 a.m. Eastern Sunday? And I think he means nobody else is watching.
I think this question would be better if it had him at 132 yards.
Yes. Okay. Yeah.
Because then I would pull him. I think it's important for him to set the single season rushing record on Saturday night / Sunday morning.
I think it is too. You guys would have liked
Vegas.
You would have liked Vegas Ferguson. Yeah, kind of a bigger, longer. But he was an aesthetic, not as aesthetic as
Okay. Yeah,
not as aesthetic as
No?
Love. But
not the
and
coolest
a
looking human in the
workhorse.
world since Eric Dickerson. So-
Yeah, I mean 301 carries.
Oh my God.
That's amazing. 11 games, 301 carries.
11. Yeah, no, you didn't. And bowl games didn't count. And
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think Love would like to break it in game 12 with 200 carries would be a pretty big deal. But my answer officially is I do not get Jeremiah Love's knee tweaked under any circumstance where this game is in. I get him out.
Knock on wood, the USC game was when it happened.
Yes.
Game 12.
I get him out.
Well,
Fourth quarter, 31-3. He does not play for me, and I say, Jeremiah, you're going to break the record in the playoff. No one's going to care that you broke it in the playoff.
Right, and it's a great question because
It's a great question.
There isn't anything that's going to happen after 12:30 a.m. Eastern time that's going to sway whether he becomes the Heisman Trophy winner or not. So
Right. Spike, on that note, Tim Priester, Spike Mal asked a similar question. Let's say the Irish held on to beat A&M, so it's just one defensive snap. Nothing else changes in the season at all. Would Love be the Heisman favorite? He'd be just even closer, right?
There's also, is it too QB driven to matter? And it goes back to my comment about Travis Hunter and where we are now. No, I think you could. It's another great question. You paired up two really good questions there, T.O. Probably. I mean, it's taken a while.
Get him in that.
What were his odds? Well, he was like plus 3,000 2 weeks ago or 3 weeks ago. Great questions, but I think he would be. I think he may be anyway. He may be the front runner right now.
I think 10-1.
Yeah, I mean, I think Mendoza's still a front runner, and I don't think Notre Dame beating A&M would change that, but Love would be a lot closer. I mean, it's like his A&M performance was 27 touches for 147 yards and 2 touchdowns.
He did score the winning touchdown if they would have won.
Yeah, there's that too.
This is them winning. This is them winning though. Like they hold on to win.
Yes. I just like the way you phrase that. I'm gonna use that in future. I would have
under the scenario because it says one defensive snap change. Yeah.
It's not even called the penalty. It's just the ball falls down to the ground.
I would have cleaned up the house if I had cleaned up the house. Yeah. Yeah. I think that his touchdown reception against A&M probably would get a lot more play, and that I think we kind of forget about.
Oh, the
how
one-handed.
ridiculous that was.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Ho hum.
See, the cleaning the house thing, though, I'm not sure I'm with that. I think that's like Tate and Sloan cleaning your house and you messing up and making a giant mess of it before anybody can see the clean house. That's what the defense did to Jeremiah Love. He cleaned.
Yeah, that's true.
The lengths that we go in analyzing the game of football.
No, here's some more because this is
some Game 12 material.
This is some Game 12 material. This one's about Stanford. It's our final question, other than the bonus question, which is going to come after predictions, guys, to lay out the outline. Irish Gambler. This will be a different Saturday night. I assume fans, coaches, and players will all have similar knowledge of who won and lost in a good portion, almost all the games. At least fans all will. Can you see a situation where game pressure lasts longer than may have been expected? In what quarter does game pressure end? Like, this is basically, tell us what's going to happen at kickoff in Palo Alto. Will you be confident or less confident in Notre Dame's playoff position?
So if Miami trucks Pittsburgh and Michigan wins, then I think Notre Dame will feel real game pressure.
Okay.
But like those two things will have ended by lunchtime in California. So you probably have a lot of time to process that if you're Notre Dame. But like short of those two things happen, I think Notre Dame will cruise into Saturday night and play loose and free and just murder Stanford. Because I think the real the more serious trapdoors for Notre Dame are on championship weekend, and Notre Dame can't do anything about those.
First of all, Pete, didn't you hear Michigan can't beat Ohio State?
Oh, yeah.
There's no way that Michigan...
into existence.
Stop listening to Danny Cannell. God.
Even though, did he say that?
I'm just assuming that he did. Oh. Probably he said it for the last 4 years.
No, I said it Monday.
Oh, I'm sorry I compared you to Danny.
While probably, disregarding too much the situation with the Ohio State wide receivers, but I just cannot possibly envision. Well, I can't. I don't understand why Michigan beat them the last 4 years. I don't
That's why I
understand
think
that.
they could beat them.
Well, look, there's a statute of limitations here, and it's
I
going
don't
to.
think that game is going to be a blowout. I disagree with you. Like, I'm not going to pick Michigan to beat Ohio State.
I didn't say. Did I didn't say blowout?
Well, if it's close, I think Michigan wins.
Okay. Well, I didn't say blowout.
Yeah.
I just said.
So they can't beat them, but they can stay within 10?
They can beat them.
Here again. I would imagine that they can, but I just can't. I just can't fathom that happening for another time. But I couldn't fathom the previous ones.
I mean,
I couldn't fathom Davis Warren winning in Columbus, Michigan's quarterback, with a stat line of 9 of 16 for 62 yards and 2 interceptions, one of which was like one of the worst interceptions I've ever seen in my life.
Who's the best team in the country? No doubt.
I mean, it's still Ohio State. They were last year too.
Last year too.
Well, you don't think that the negativity that came from last year is going to help Ohio State this year?
I think if I was going to psychoanalyze Ohio State, I would think that winning a national title sort of like lets them play as loose as you possibly could play in a rivalry game that you've lost 4 times in a row.
They were 20-point favorites at home last year, and they scored 10 points.
I realized last year. I just don't think it's going to happen again. What was the other thing I was going to say? You guys talk while I remember what I was going to say.
Should we not go into predictions yet? Does that have to do with Notre Dame, or is it about the rest of college football? Oh, Pittsburgh, Miami. I don't think Pittsburgh's getting trucked either. I know you.
Yeah, I think that. Yeah, and I don't know what the spread would have to be for Miami to win there. I mean, they'd have to win by 4 touchdowns, right?
Well, it's the perfect game from Notre Dame's perspective. The week after Notre Dame trucked Pittsburgh.
Yeah.
I mean, it's just so much. So if Miami doesn't, like, Miami not only has to win in poor conditions, and we're talking about all that, but they've got to be as dominant. Otherwise, all that conversation about game 1 and eye tests, it's over for them. I don't remember what else I was going to say, but I've said enough.
How we do this. Predictions, yeah. Pete Sampson.
I like Notre Dame by a lot. So 42-14, still no field goals. That is not going away. But it doesn't matter this weekend. And despite the fact that, as Marcus Freeman pointed out on Monday, they've been tied or losing in the first quarter to Stanford each of the last 3 years, because you have to be tied in the first quarter at some point. I don't think that will. Maybe they'll be tied in the first quarter at some point on Saturday night, but I think that Notre Dame will run away with this in the end. I was surprised to see that they were actually losing at the end of the first quarter 2 years ago.
Yeah, Stanford's come out with some crazy stuff both the last 2 times out there, and then Notre Dame pounded them.
Miami and Stanford were tied at halftime.
That's
Miami and Syracuse were scoreless at the end of the first quarter.
Miami and Syracuse were scoreless. Jeez, how you tied at Stanford at halftime? I guess it can happen.
And they killed them.
They
killed them. Yeah. My prediction's very close to Pete's. 42-10. I think Stanford will have something on its opening drive or two again for Notre Dame, because it's just keeps happening out there. That was nuts last year. There was plays you'd never seen them run before. So I'm in the 42-10 range. I could easily see 42-6 and no touch. If it's not scored in the first, I think it's not going to be. I think Notre Dame will shut them down pretty good in the second, third, and fourth quarter. I don't know what happened with the Zoom there, but that was tight. I'll go out on a limb. 42-6. 42-6.
Okay, so you're saying they're cover. I remember what I was going to answer.
I'm absolutely going to say cover. Yeah.
Irish Gambler wanted to know what quarter the game pressure would end. Well, the one thing I am going to predict is that Stanford's going to cover. And what is it, 32.5?
32.5, yeah.
So Pete, when you say is one-sided, your prediction is only 28. And so we're talking about kind of on different planes there, I guess. Mm-hmm. But third quarter, not that the game's in doubt. Like, what was the score 2 years ago out there at halftime?
Not in doubt.
It wasn't in doubt, but it was, but it was because of a mad rush at the end of the first half that made it not in doubt, right? So I don't know. I mean, I think Stanford will come ready to play. They are coming off a huge game for them emotionally, but Notre Dame,
One of the coordinators mentioned that Stanford would be coming ready to play, without being asked that question.
yeah, no, I think they will, but I don't think Notre Dame's necessarily going to feel threatened. Like it was it was close 2 years ago out
No,
there,
you're
but I
right,
don't
Tim.
think you
Yeah,
felt
28-16 at the half.
okay, but you didn't
It
feel
was sixteen
threatened,
fourteen Stanford with 8:57 with
right?
Yeah, it was
3
just
minutes.
like Notre Dame was screwing. It was like had some Boston College energy. Notre Dame was just screwing around. Like I think Sam Hartman had a ridiculous fumble. Like it was just I don't know.
That
I
team
don't
wasn't
feel like
focused
this
like
Notre
this
Dame
team.
team is going to play that way. But I said the game pressure comes down to what happened in the noon kickoff window Eastern. If those go
Yeah,
the way Notre Dame wants them to go, then it really doesn't matter.
yeah.
All right, our final Tim Priester's actual prediction will be coming with Priester's prediction on Friday. You guys can read that all day Saturday for 15 hours. It'll be there for 15 hours extra to read.
It takes about that long to read it,
That's right. You can digest it fully after Thanksgiving. That's perfect.
right?
All
Right.
right. This question.
Pete and Jack can attest to that.
Yep.
This question from Chuck Freebie Sports. What is the side dish that must be on your table at your house tomorrow? And I have polled the entire staff, so I will get their answers first. Young Tom Zwiller sent me a picture with the caption, of jellied cranberry sauce. That seems fitting. Brian Alt, mashed potatoes. Jack Freeman, bourbon, channeling his inner John Bryce. Let's see here. One more. John Bryce, to make sure we go along. His wife Jess's homemade mashed potatoes and his Aunt Judy's homemade pecan pie. That's
Mm.
good. Drew Mentox gets a little confusing. Not to sell him out or anything here, but I'm going to because this was a hard read. Drew Mentox. My favorite side will be dumplings made by an Afghani refugee family in our neighborhood. Shout out to Cultural Bites on St. Peter Street. That would not be my favorite side. Pete Sampson, your favorite side?
I like wine. That'd be high on my list.
I do.
Other than that, like I do
Paulie,
like
more wine.
the stuffing.
Ollie.
I like to like just the stuffing turkey gravy combo. Not a side, but like kind of a side, if you know what I mean.
Yeah, I messed up Eric Thomas, his mom's Waldorf salad. The old
Okay.
school 80s fruit salad. Yeah, mine would be Barolo, as Pete said, wine. I just talked to Jack and Tim. I was never a stuffing person, just like Priester, until a few years ago, where I made stuffing with Hawaiian sweet rolls and sausage, and the rest is traditional stuffing. That's awesome. So that is going there. But my mother-in-law's sweet potato casserole, which might as well be dessert while you're having with turkey. But it's good with the turkey because it's salty turkey and
Yeah.
then very sweet top.
Can I go? Yeah, I love sweet potatoes. I think they're fantastic. And that's why you mentioned the stuffing. I said to you, it better be something sweet added to it because
Hawaiian sweet roll.
I don't get much joy in stuffing. But back in the day, my aunt who lived in North Liberty, Indiana, just outside of South Bend, she would send away for Priester's pecans, which they sold in Georgia,
Priester's pecans.
with
Yeah.
All right.
with an E, of course.
Okay. Yeah.
Is that
Devaluing the
right?
whole thing, but go ahead.
Yeah, with an E. So I love that, but for me, sweet potatoes definitely.
That's a good answer. You know, the stuffing thing is interesting. My brother Steve was allergic to turkey and chicken growing up. So my mom would always make him filet during things. We had 9 in our family, so a filet. And I would always look at that filet like, damn, I wish I was allergic to turkey a little bit because I have that steak. But we always had to have in the bird and out of the bird stuffing because you can't get the stuffing out of the bird if you're allergic to turkey. That is a memory I have for Thanksgiving. Interesting,
right.
huh?
All right.
Filet. I now have enough filet in my life or steak where I don't have to be jealous of someone having it at Thanksgiving because that's my go-to at a restaurant would be steak. But I used to really look at that plate and be like, kind of wish I had allergy right now because that looks
Okay.
pretty good.
We've now officially talked longer about what we're going to eat on Thursday than we did Cal on Monday.
It's like that's good because it was much more interesting. Cal plays SMU. Hey, one more Cal reference in here. They do play SMU. Big game for Miami because Miami lost to SMU. You guys probably understand that by now. For Tim Priester of Irish Illustrated, Pete Sampson of The Athletic, Jack Freeman behind the camera, I'm Tim O'Malley. We want to wish you all a happy Thanksgiving. Talk to you from our hotels first in Palo Alto and then on site Thanks for watching and listening. Irish Illustrated Insider.